What up chaps, I'm Magical Mike and this is 2015. So let me start off the year and the video by saying thanks. Thank you for watching, because I always say it at the end of a video and some people don't stick around to hear that. So there you go. For those that have been around and for those guys that are new, without you guys I wouldn't be where I'm at, and you guys are the ones that made 2014 on my channel pretty good. So thanks. So here I'm going to talk about what went on the channel last year, I'm going to talk about what I said in last year's video, and I'm going to finish up with whatever plans I have for the next 12 months. I should also give a quick mention to donations. Obviously, thank you very much to those that did, again, but I would like to ask a couple of questions about how I display them and stuff like that. I personally don't like making a big show out of it because it's distracting and all those sorts of things, but many people do like that and sort of expect it. I'm very much of the opinion that keeping people anonymous is overall more pleasant for most people and it causes less problems. But I'd like to hear from you guys on what you guys think. Should I list your names somewhere? Should I list amounts? I don't know. In the end it's completely up to you whether or not you want that. And you always have the option to leave notes to me when you do these things. So go ahead and tell me what you think on these things and I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll do something on the channel for it. I don't know yet. So 2014 was a fairly average year in terms of YouTube for me. Things settled in for the most part and I got some regular stuff going on. Obviously the main series on the channel is the Guild Wars 2 patch overview stuff, and I'm normally very happy with how these turn out and with the frequency at which I get to put them out. On very rare occasions I either don't have a lot to say about a patch or what I have to say is so negative that I feel like not doing them. People really don't like it when I'm highly critical of Guild Wars 2 patches, and of course that puts me down slightly. Not buying into the constant hype of each patch really doesn't help, but I want to keep a level head when it comes to explaining my opinions on each update. I guess people just need to understand that when I do criticise a patch, I do it in the hope that things will later improve based upon that sort of feedback. If we choose to ignore the bad stuff, then the bad stuff will keep getting produced, and I say this every time. Likewise, we also need to keep praising the good stuff as well, so that we get to see more of it. Ignoring poor updates or choosing not to talk about them is a terrible practice, even if it does open doors. So speaking of which, the September feature pack was a huge change to the game, one that spawned the phrases too overwhelming and too confusing for new players. I did the whole knee-jerk reaction video to those changes and it got a lot of attention. Some people still call me out for being stupid or for forcing certain issues in that video, but seriously, honestly, I didn't try very hard at all. I literally walked into the Black Citadel, and then the compass redirected me to Diessa Plateau, and then I went near the bank, and it told me to go out there, so I did. And then it told me to go to Wayfarer from there instead of going back the way I came, so I did. And then told me to go to Frostgorge after a few seconds of walking around in Wayfarer. Honestly, I did force it a tiny little bit, but a new player could have done that accidentally very easily. I'm not going to continue to defend myself about this thing, because the whole thing, it was kind of ridiculous anyway, and the issue's kind of done. Regardless, the video was still fun to do, but after seeing the massive reactions that it was getting from all different sides, I thought I'd do a proper evaluation of the leveling experience on stream. The point of this was to find out exactly what the changes meant for the game and how they felt to play, and that candid footage is kept up on my channel so that my real reactions to that stuff are honest and you can go and see them still. So I went through all of that. Lots of changes were made to improve the new systems, and eventually I did a final analysis video with proper thoughts that were collected and organised. And honestly, I'm saddened that I put a lot of work into that video, and it didn't get nearly as much attention as the sarcastic initial video did. It's not that I care about the views per se, I care that people should actually look at this stuff objectively and analyse it properly for themselves. People thought I was just hating on the game, but in reality I was, in the end, doing things as properly as I thought I should. In the end though, after all those changes, the new player experience isn't all that bad. But it would have been terrible if the community didn't speak up. I do like the compass and the level rewards, but not much else. So I mentioned streaming just now, and that's also something I started this year. I do still have the same crappy internet with the same crappy less than a meg upload that I mentioned last year that's apparently prevented me from streaming, but I found out that with tweaks and workarounds that I can just about stream stuff, at a poor bitrate, so the video quality does suffer, but hey, at least I can do it. And I found that it's a lot of fun, and while I don't really do it very often, I've enjoyed all the time that I have spent with it so far and intend to carry on with it this year. Planned stuff can be found listed on the Twitch page, which I try and keep updated. It doesn't change very often. But if I ever feel like doing things not planned or not on that list, then that'll just happen randomly. The Dark Souls 2 DLC stuff was sort of unplanned. I mean, it was kind of planned, but not really. It just kind of happened. A few people wanted me to stream or record my entire first playthrough with the game, but I didn't really want to spoil that whole experience for myself by having to stream it or having to record it and only being able to play it under those conditions. So the next best thing to do were the DLCs, which I was more than happy to stream, because I'd already experienced the whole game and wasn't going to struggle with mechanics and stuff. I didn't intend them to be split up into so many parts on YouTube though, but now that I understand how Twitch works a lot better and I realise that I can highlight them into larger parts, then, well, I could have fixed that, but I didn't. No matter though, I still like having those up on the channel as they are, so that people can see how I experience new Souls content. During the year I also did a full playthrough of a Pyromancer build for Dark Souls 2 on the stream, and a full playthrough of a Dex build in Dark Souls 1 without a shield that I called Learn to Parry. And the point of that one should be fairly obvious. And these were a lot of fun to do, and I'd strongly considered doing a full, properly made Let's Play of the first Dark Souls in time. We'll really have to see about that though, I don't want to promise it. And as well as those runs, I uploaded a bunch of highlights from the Pyro build. One of me killing the double pursuers in New Game Plus 2, which was a huge challenge and I'm very happy with. And a semi-tutorial kind of thing about how to kill the original Smelter Demon, because people used to struggle with that. I don't know if they still do, but I haven't really. So there you go. And there's a whole bunch of other videos that I did, including the Guild Wars 1 Wayfarer's Reverie stream VODs, that's videos on demand, for you guys that don't know what that means. I did a video on why I enjoyed Brutal Legend, and exploring new game worlds. I did an opinion piece about Twitch chat messing with streamers' experiences with games. Split screen duels with Boots from World of Enders, and he did one on his channel as well. Those were a lot of fun to do and make, by the way. The fake Guild Wars 2 Let's Play on April the 1st, which was apparently believed by a couple of people. No, I will never do a Guild Wars 2 Let's Play, because the magnitude of such a project is insane. I built a legendary spear and did a video on that, which I'm still not sure what to think about. I'm glad I've got it, but I wish I'd built something like Sunrise instead. I also did a quiz in for the original Dark Souls, and I did 3 videos detailing my impressions on the Elder Scrolls Online, which I'm also very happy with, and I still stand by what I thought about the game at that time. And finally, I did a couple of achievement guides for the more recent Seeds of Truth patch in Guild Wars 2. I do miss doing instructional videos like those, and hopefully there's going to be more opportunities to do that stuff this year. What there hasn't been are any build videos, any time does videos, any time capsules, or any building my legend videos. And there's various problems with these kind of things. The build videos, for example, aren't really of any use to very many people. You either run the best optimal Zerka builds, or you use something worse. And quite honestly, if you're using something worse, you're doing it for fun and you're doing it on your own volition anyway. And if you're running the best stuff, then you go to people like Nike and Brazil and those kind of guys that know what they're talking about. So there really isn't much point in me coming up with builds that aren't as good as the best ones, because there isn't any use for a tank in PvE or a support spec for any of the current content. Maybe they'd be more useful in PvP, but as I'm not a PvP player, I'm in no position to craft that sort of a build. And there's also a whole issue of rune sets and sigil sets not being particularly interesting enough to do whole builds around, so again, that's more reason to just not mess with builds until things change there. The time does stuff also halted simply because of the lack of content to do as a big group and discover together, and it's really that simple. The time capsules also took a break because I'm lazy, really. I've had the Ranger video ready to go for over a year now, and the Mesmer one ready to go for about 6 months, and there's really no excuse for me not putting those out, so I guess they'll appear sometime this year. Definitely the biggest thing that fell apart though was the Building My Legend series, and I don't really have too much of a problem with that. The problem with that is that things are never consistent for long enough. So take dailies for example. They used to be a great karma and laurel resource, and well, now they aren't. They're just achievement points and PvP rewards and sips of karma and tiny bits of experience and stuff. They've changed dailies enough times that I'd have to make a third and possibly even a fourth video about them and karma to keep things intact, and that's just not worth my time, and it's not worth your time either. And that isn't the only thing. So we've got money making, material farming, obsidian shard gathering, and loads of things like that. They change constantly. They add more ways to do stuff. They take ways away. They just change the most efficient path to getting obsidian shards and tier 6 materials and stuff all the time. And my so-called best methods at the time of making a video become outdated very, very quickly. Or if not quickly, they just become outdated too often and result in several videos on the same subject, which just isn't worth it. I wanted to try and keep the series as informative as possible, and originally it was going that way, but with information becoming obsolete on a regular basis, it just isn't possible at the moment. Not until something happens where legendaries have this clear path in which you do this and this and this, and then you get them. For now it's just farm a load of gold, and again, that isn't a very interesting video to be honest. Until some kind of change like that happens, I won't be doing anything with that series, but maybe I'll be able to rework it eventually. I've no idea really, we'll have to just see. I do still have those original video files for building the Juggernaut though, so maybe we can get something out of that? I don't know. Oh wow, okay, well that's a lot I've talked about already. I usually like to keep these as short as possible, but oh well. On to plans for this year. Obviously I'm going to continue with the overviews of each Guild Wars 2 patch for as long as I'm interested, which will be for the foreseeable future. I can't see myself getting bored with it anytime soon. I already have some stuff ready to go, like those 2 time capsules I mentioned, and when I do eventually make an Asura, I'll be able to do one for that character as well. And if they ever let us play new races, then I'll have some more excuses to do more time capsules as well. Eventually, when all those characters are also done, or when I consider their looks and feels finalised, I'll also be able to do some kind of retrospective to see how my initial thoughts on them compared to the results, just like my Guild Wars 1 retrospective. Man, I am tripping over my words. All sorts of different ways. My voice is cracking. I really shouldn't be recording this at 9 in the morning. I also still have a set of ideas for things to stream on Twitch, so keep an eye out over there if you're interested. The possibility of Let's Plays is still a thing, but no promises, as I keep saying for the past year. And I mean proper ones, not streamed ones that turn into YouTube Let's Plays. I want to put out more quids-in review type stuff when I come across the right games for it. For example, I didn't do Dark Souls 2 yet, and I actually already have a script for one written, not for Dark Souls 2, for a different game. I just need to replay it for some footage. I think what I'm most excited about doing this year is more instructional type content. Things like achievement guides, and I'd love to do build guides if they were more interesting, sort of how to beat this thing or how to beat that thing. How-to guides are just a lot of fun for me to make. I like being concise and to the point, and I often find myself rambling a lot in this kind of a video, which I'm sure we've all experienced in the past minute or two. And that's not to say that I don't like doing this stuff, because I do, and I'd like to continue making opinionated content like this as well. I mean, I just need to find better things to talk about, but I'm sure we'll find stuff in time. And lastly, I have another series idea that combines the Let's Play style of content with a less stressful means of keeping up with producing it. So we'll have to see how that turns out as well. Alright, and that's it. That's me done. Here's to hopefully a good 2015, not just for me, but for all of you guys as well. Thanks chaps for watching, and I will see you lot next time. I'm going to go back to watching AGDQ, because speedruns are really cool. Alright, see you later.